Joining me now from the great state of South Carolina, Senator Lindsey Graham. How are you doing, Senator?
Good. Congratulations. You're working 1 day a week. Good for you.
That's more than I was working the last time we saw each other. How are you?
I'm doing good. That was really well said there. That's well done.
Well, thank you. Speaking of things well said, it was about this time last year. I remember you on the floor of the Senate decrying the perverse incentive of paying people not to work. You warned against the dangers of paying people not to work, and here we are a year later. What do you have to say about where we are?
Well, if you pay somebody $23 an hour not to work, they'll take you up on it. The unemployment benefits originally that we constructed was $600 federal benefit on top of state benefits. In South Carolina, that's over $23 an hour. My fear was that we're going to pay people more not to work than work, and it'd be hard to go back to work when the virus gets under control. And you see that happening today. I don't blame the people not going back to work. I blame government for creating an incentive. I want you to be made whole if you lose your job, and a lot of people lost their job no fault of their own. But you shouldn't get a 50 or 100% pay raise in unemployment. We did that. It's making it hard for the economy to recover. Henry McMaster in South Carolina stopped the federal benefit, the $300, which will make it easier for people to get back to work at home.
Well, you mentioned South Carolina. I'm sure it's true in other states also. I mean, I hear from folks all the time. They actually have openings, and folks will apply once the benefits run out. Are you also hearing that?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I grew up, my dad owned a bar, my mom, a restaurant, liquor store, and a pool room. Is a small business. We had one or two people when times were good working. Sometimes you couldn't hire anybody. Again, if you're going to pay somebody $23 an hour not to work and they're making $18, they're not going to be anxious to go back to work until the benefits run out. We had a problem. The economy shut down. We need to help people who are out of work, but we created an incentive to keep them from going back into the economy, and the economy will never recover fully until we replace unemployment benefits with wages in the private sector, and I hope that happens sooner rather than later.
I guess what surprises me a little bit, Senator, is, I mean, people are welcome to say they're disappointed, but they can't say they're surprised. You and others said this is exactly what's going to happen. And you weren't, I mean, ridicule is too strong a word, but you were not heated back then when you warned us.
Well, how smart do you have to be to figure out that if the unemployment benefits are about a 100% increase in somebody's, wages in the private sector, it's going to be hard to get people to go back to work. I mean, this wasn't rocket scientists. Everybody was well-meaning at first. The pandemic shut down the entire economy for tourism. We suffered at home. I don't mind paying people unemployment benefits when they were put out of work at no fault of their own, but the benefit package tray was far more than you were making at work, and that created a problem, and we're going to get through this. And the idea about who's the referee in a democracy, who's the player? I would say that everybody listening to this program tonight is a player, not just me. So if you think the country's going the wrong way, make sure you vote in 2022.
Let me switch gears with you. You have been focused on the Middle East from the moment I knew you, and we have a change in leadership, it looks like, in the state of Israel. What impact will that have on us replacing Netanyahu?
Okay, Bibi's been one of the greatest leaders of the 20th century and 21st century, in my view. He stood up to the Iranians. He's protected this democracy in Israel against terrorism, against all kind of threats. He is going to be one of the greatest people to ever represent the state of Israel. But democracy works, and we have a new government. The new prime minister will be Mr. Bennett. I know him well. The number 2 guy will be Mr. Lapid. I know him well. The relationship's not about people. It's about shared values between us and Israel. They're our best friends in the Mideast, and our relationship will stay strong. But the one thing I worry about, will this new government speak up against the Iranian nuclear agreement like Bibi did? Because we need people in the Mideast to tell folks all over the world the Iran nuclear agreement is a threat to the very existence of Israel. I hope the new administration, the new government in Israel, will not shade their opposition at all.
All right, let me ask you quickly. I know that you care about our justice system. You used to work in the justice system. You were a trial lawyer before you got into politics. What's the status of police reform? I'll give you the next minute, and you close it out for us.
Okay, it's a make or break week. We're going to meet. I'm meeting with Cory Booker and the Sheriff's Association tomorrow. We're not going to throw the cops to the wolves. We're going to expand liability for police departments, protect the individual officer and their family from being sued. We're not going to federalize crimes against the police so that the most liberal U.S. attorneys can declare war on the cops. But I do believe in reform. Our friend Tim has been stopped 18 times for driving in D.C. I've never been stopped. We've got a problem in our system. We're going to protect the cops, but we're going to reform the system. And I believe we're going to get there. We'll know by the end of next week. It's a make or break week.
Well, thank you. Speaking of make or break, take your jacket off, go back and finish your round of golf. Thank you for getting off the course and joining us tonight. I'll see you soon.
Thank you.